I've always wanted to restore a split window bus, and then I bought one and then realized that these things drive absolutely horrible. At the same time, I bought a 964 Carrera 4 Cabriolet, which was mostly the most unreliable car that I ever owned in my life. And then one day I stood next to the bus and the Porsche, and I realized that the wheelbase, the width, everything was exactly spot on. Did some more measurements and realized that I could actually build a four-wheel drive bus by using the 964 internals. And the brave moment was when you took an angle grinder to a 964 to cut it. And then obviously we took everything out of the bus underneath it, and basically what you see today is a combi body but on a fully fledged 964 Carrera 4 Porsche with a 993 air-cooled motor. I think we had a number of major challenges in the bus. If you can visualize that the steering wheel and where the driver sits is actually on the right front fender of a Porsche 911. So therefore the steering linkages was incredibly complicated. And then also the gear linkages, because you can't take any cables from the lever back to the gearbox because you've got the passenger compartment in the back of the bus. So the gear linkage cables actually run the reverse. They go forward first and then underneath the car. So we've had some challenges. Other challenges that we've had was been with side shafts to get them to go, and then also made the decision quite early on to actually run a fully fledged Motec engine management system on it. I also wanted to keep the bus as original as possible. I didn't want to cut the dash, and therefore we actually use a Motec display unit in the front of the bus as well. Yeah, cooling is always a challenge on the air-cooled motors. So if you look very carefully at the bus, and for example, if you look at the rear number plate, you will notice that the number plate is actually moved away from the bodywork so that there's more place to suck air in. And then also the side pods on the sides of the rear of the bus, they're fairly large at this moment in time. And then on the inside of the bus, we made some ducting to get more air into the engine compartment. The project took approximately 4,000 hours and it took about 4 years to do. I often say to people that we can restore 10 911s for building one bus. So it's not something that somebody should embark on if they want to do it properly. You've got to have deep pockets and lots of patience. We've often had people to say, listen, build me a bus like yours. And then when you get to the costing of it, they very often get cold feet. If I have to do it again, I'll do it differently. I will definitely not use a manual gearbox and either go PDK or might even go Tiptronic in it. And that will solve a lot of the issues. Also, I'm not quite sure that it's worthwhile going the four-wheel drive route. You're gaining or you're making your own life very complex, which is something that you can avoid if you're cost conscious. So this is a very interesting car. It belongs to a customer of ours who's got a 50th anniversary Porsche 991, which there were only 1,963 built. He then asked us to build him a 20th anniversary car, which is this car. So it's exactly the same color as the 991 50th anniversary edition. And this car actually burnt. It completely burnt out, and we managed to rescue it and then make a 20th anniversary car for him. So the upholstery in the interior is exactly similar as the 50th. The gauges are black with green lettering. is exactly, and the car's also got a magnificent hidden sound system in that nobody can see. This is a 1971 911T. It started life off as a 2.2 litre 6-cylinder engine. And it's been featured in a number of magazines actually in Germany. They refer to it as as an African outlaw. It runs a 3-litre motor, Porsche turbo brakes. And it's also very proud of, if you look at things like the mirrors, which we actually made in-house. So this is a magnificent little car to drive every day. The holy grail in all Porsches are the last equal versions, the 993s. This is a 993 RS replica. It is not an original RS. This car was originally in Canada and then came into South Africa. I had to do very, very little to this car. The previous owner spent an absolute fortune to build this car, and it is an absolute rocket to drive, and mostly the most rewarding car to drive out of all the vehicles. Okay, this is a 1960 Austin Healey BN7. It's a 3000. And other than Porsches, I would think that Austin Healey is most probably my most famous second brand. This car was built and restored by a guy by the name of Ben Gerber, who built most of the pristine concourse cars in South Africa. It is, however, not standard. It's got 2-inch SU carbs on and K&N air filters. It's also got a twin spark distributor on it. And it is magnificent to drive. I've driven this car from Johannesburg to Knysna and back. It cruises at 100 miles an hour, and it is just absolutely fantastic. This car, I've had a number of Austin Healey's in my life, and restored a couple and then sell them off. But I found this one, and to me, you know, this car was just special. From the day, even before we restored it, when I drove it, I was really in two minds. Do I actually want to restore it, or do I want to keep it the way it was? Because there was just something about it that made it really special and driving incredibly nice. This is a Mercedes-Benz W111. If you look at it, on the first glance, you might say, I've seen this before, but look carefully. It's only got 2 doors. It's a coupe. They made them in a 280 SE. They made earlier ones in a 220 as well. But this is the one with the 3.5 litre V8 engine in it. So its full name is a 280 SE 3.5, mainly built for the American markets who wanted V8s. What makes this car special is that it's only one of 64 right-hand drives that were ever made. So very few right-hand drives were built. And then at the same time, it's also had all the factory options. It's got electric windows, it's got an electric sunroof, and it's got air conditioning that works still till today. So yeah, this is like driving your couch. It's beautiful. I found the car here in South Africa. Unfortunately, I don't have much history on the car, but other than to see that on the side door here, there's still a 1973 license disc from Victoria in Australia on it. So it must have came into South Africa at some stage via Aussie.